August 5th, 2026. Dear Vindictive Me, do you ever feel like you have to get back at those who have hurt you? It could be the smallest thing, and you feel like it would be a great injustice to just let it slide. Today has been a rough day. I have taken things and internalized them and made them more than what they are. It started with a comment made earlier today. It wasn't even a big deal. The person was just letting me know something, and I instantly took offense to it. It wasn't rude. It wasn't inaccurate. It just, the thought that they needed to tell me that made me mad. Moved on, continued with my day. It's fine. Continued on with work. It's fine. On my drive home from work, I called my friend, and he and I were talking about me driving home the back way, and he was kind of asking me why I was taking the back roads. It's not something I would typically do, but I've been enjoying it lately. Had no reason to rush home. And on the way on my drive, I had made the comment about how if I were to disappear, if my car was to break down because my car was low on gas, that although he has my location, it wouldn't even matter because he couldn't do anything about it. And it was a flippant comment. It was a joke, but it was quite flippant in the way that I said it. It's typically how I talk to him. And I could tell that he instantly got upset, but he wasn't going to say anything. And it was, well, I guess it doesn't matter if I have your location. I could just delete it. And I just ignored it because I didn't see reason to acknowledge the statement. He has my location. We both know that. And so it was just like, hey, it's, realistically speaking, you live an hour and a half away from me. He doesn't drive. There isn't a whole lot he could do other than like call the cops and say, hey, this was her last known location, which obviously he could do because he'd have that information, which is what I meant. That's how I meant it, but that's not how I said it. And so we continued on talking, and I make the comment, wouldn't it be weird if you could, like, hear me die? Like, if you were on the phone while I was dying? And he asked, like, that took a dark turn. Like, why are you being so morbid? Well, I'm not being morbid. Again, to me, it was just a random thought that popped into my head. I was smiling when I said it, which he couldn't obviously see, but I've never thought about that before. Like, being on the phone with someone as they take their last breath. Like, what would you do? So I made the comment, and he all of a sudden was like, I'm going to get off the phone. You enjoy your drive home. And I said, okay. And I got off the phone. And then I gave it some time because I knew that I was feeling some kind of way. And I wanted to not overreact. And so I waited for a few moments. And then I sent him a message, and I said, wouldn't tell me what's wrong, or are you simply planning to pretend I didn't catch the switch up? Because it was an obvious switch up. There was an obvious difference in the way he was suddenly acting. And he just tells me that the conversation was starting to annoy him, and that before he could get fully annoyed, he got off the phone, but he's fine. Okay, well, you're not fine if you're annoyed, because those aren't synonyms at all. But let's talk about it. So, like, why are you annoyed? And it was because I started talking about listening to me die, and how it was pointless for him to have my location, so on and so forth. And I said, oh, okay, so you didn't like what I was saying. No, I was not liking the conversation. And to me, tomato, tomato, same thing. Like, you didn't like what I was saying. That is the conversation. You got off. But instead of addressing it while we were on the phone, he just got off. That's his right. And even with me knowing, logically, that is his right, it upset me. And my reaction to being upset, to be slighted in such a way, was, well, if that's how he really feels, I should just delete his location. If that's how he really feels, I should just stop talking to him. If I annoy him by sharing with him what I'm thinking, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. That is my go-to response. My go-to response to protect me is to say, fine, let me fix the problem you have with me by doing the exact opposite in the most extreme way. Not necessarily because I think it would hurt them, but because in my mind it helps me. It protects me. So I come home and all these things are running through my head, and I sit down to prepare for the podcast. And I know that I'm feeling vindictive. It's there. I've been feeling like that all day today. And so I sit down and I prepare for it, and I'm thinking about like how I want to address the conversation with myself. And I say, you know what? Let me go ahead and take a step back. Let me process this some more before I jump down the deep end. Let me make sure that this isn't a passing feeling. This is what I'm feeling. So I set it to the side and I did what I usually do, is distract. So I pick up my cell phone and I'm scrolling through social media because it's a great distraction, right? And I come upon this video of someone that I'm following. It's a couple here in the Missouri area, and they're pregnant, and she's about to give birth. And I get to see the video of like the process of her going through contractions and getting ready for the hospital and driving to the birthing center and the whole 9 yards. Like, she shows bits and pieces of it. And it's so cute. Like, you could see how excited and nervous she is. And I am so happy for her. They deserve it. 100%. And I'm looking at it and I'm smiling, and I realize that it's just nice to see this couple happy. And they get to the birthing center and they show her pushing, and then they show the baby laying on her chest and her talking to her baby, and that's all it took for me to cry. And they weren't happy tears. They were jealous tears. They were, that will never be me tears. They were, I will never get that tears. I'm not worth that tears. And I got sad. And so instead of processing my sadness, because that's just too much today, I sent my best friend a message, and it was, I just cried on a TikTok. She was giving birth. I hate it here. And she sees the comment. She reacts to it. She tells me that she's sorry, and it's, I'll get over it eventually. And she tells me that it makes her feel bad and she wishes she could help more. And it's not so much something I need help with, it's just the weight of never fulfilling a dream I've always had. And then I remember back to when she was pregnant last year. I was with her when she suspected, and I remember us buying the pregnancy test and going to her home for her to find out if she was pregnant or not, and how excited and nervous she was. And I could not have been more excited for her. I knew this was something she wanted. And she takes the test, and she's pregnant, and she's excited, and I'm excited, and I'm watching her figure out how to tell her partner what's going on. And we're talking, and we're laughing, and we're just kind of planning things as we go. And I'm genuinely happy for her. And then I get to watch her throughout the pregnancy. I get to show up and help her take her doctor's appointments and help her get out of the house and just go do things to remind her that she's still somebody. And I was excited for her. But even in all my excitement, in the back, there was that jealousy. Not the kind of jealousy where I covet what she wants and I hope that it doesn't go well for her. It's the kind of jealousy that says, she's so lucky. I wish I could be her. I wish I could have that. I wish someone loved me enough to give me that. someone wanted me enough to give me that. And I know that I'm going to hear, like, oh, I love you enough to give you that. No, no. I want someone who genuinely wants me. Not my body, not what I could do for them, just me. And I don't I don't know if that's possible. I say that because in my mind, the person who truly wants me is able to talk to me and to work with me and process with me. They're able to hear me and they're willing to correct me when I'm wrong. Those things are important to me. I have felt unbelievably sad today. And the easiest way to deal with it was to be vindictive. It would be a lie to say that I don't know why I'm sad. I know why I'm sad. I know why I'm bothered. And while, yes, the TikTok was a huge reminder of why, there's more to it than that. But it always circles around the same thing, me wanting a family, me wanting kids. I don't I don't know how to give that up. I know that I have to. I know that is something that is not achievable for me. I don't have the opportunity or the chance to try that. I get it. I chose my partner. I knew what I was choosing. And sometimes I wished it hurt him the way that it hurt me. I wish he understood the pain that I have, the tears that I cry. He has a child. He will always have his son. He will always have that experience with his wife, his first wife, his ex wife. He got to go through all of that. He got to experience all of that. He loved her enough to give her that experience. She loved him enough to give him that experience. I'm just here. I have been questioning a lot this week on if I would ever even be a good mom. Yes, I've taken care of kids. Yes, I've helped raise kids. And somehow, the deciding factor for me is if I would screw up my own child. I hope that I wouldn't. I hope that I would be better than what I know. But I'll never know that. That's the part of me that will always fail, and I never got to take the exam. It's that part of me that is a child on Christmas Day just looking through the window hoping for a present. So sometimes I'm just mean. Sometimes it's easier to be mean and keep everybody away than it is to let my heart break again. Today was uncomfortable. And for the next week, I'm going to be really uncomfortable. There's something looming in the distance that I have to deal with, and I'm not ready. I fear it will not go well, and I don't know how to prepare for it. I don't know how to plan for it. I just have it stuck in my head, and it's playing over and over and over again. And it just reminds me that I'm not a mom, that I will never be somebody's mom. And I don't mean that in a all-consuming way, because I have my kids. And I recognize I have my kids, and they're not less important because I didn't give birth to them. And I hope they know that. I hope they know that they are not less important to me, because that is far from the truth. I also recognize that they have moms, or they don't want moms, and that's okay too. That's okay too. I could be a mother figure without being their mom. I can be one of their mother figures. I could be one of their moms. And no, that doesn't take from the title. And no, that doesn't make me more sad to share. I just wanted to experience it firsthand. So I'm sad. And vindictive. And although I'm not acting on my vindictiveness, I know it's there. I know that I can want to do something and not do it. I know that I can think about it and rationalize it and still see where it's wrong. But it doesn't strip away that feeling of sadness. It doesn't cover up the wound that's there. It's a band-aid at best, and it keeps slipping off. So I just get to live with it. I get to sit in it and stress about it and overthink it until I can process it and work through it, taking it one bite at a time. Today, my bite of pie is not acting out on my vindictiveness. It's knowing that it's there and still saying that I'm bigger than that, I'm better than that. Just because you're hurting doesn't mean hurt others. It's knowing that I'm sad and saying that it's okay to be sad. You're allowed to have big feelings, even when they're not pleasant. You don't have to hide them or erase them. You don't have to keep telling everybody you're fine when you're not. I'm not fine. I'm sad. It happens. It's a feeling, like all the others. It won't last forever. It won't stay. But it's okay to sit in it. It's okay to waddle in it. till I figure it out, how to pull myself out of it. That's when my self-help will kick in. Maybe I will put on my headphones and blast the music, sing away and dance away the blues. Maybe I will curl up in bed with my blankie and my stuffed animal and watch a romance movie and remember that it's possible, even if it's not for me. Or I can watch the ID channel and solve some mysteries. Who did it? Self-care. Maybe I'll take a bath, read a book. This is a time that it's most necessary to do something for yourself. This is why it's so important to have the conversations with yourself and get to know what your feelings mean. Feeling the upfront emotion does not always explain what's going on in the background. So today, I was being vindictive, but I was feeling sad and lonely and hurt and alone. And that's okay. It's okay. It's okay to have big feelings. I'm not the only person out there with big feelings. I won't be the first. I won't be the last. There's people out there who feel the way that I do. I'll find my tribe and I'll talk to my tribe and I'll work through it as I know that I can. Sometimes it'll happen overnight. Sometimes it'll be a few days. Either way it will happen. One bite at a time. And I get to remind myself that my story is far from perfect, but I'm willing to keep writing and starting over and redoing it. Because at the very least, my story is worth telling, even if it's just telling it to myself. And while I may not like the main character right now, I know that she's going to do great things in the story. I'm writing it that way. That's my choice. She's going to win. I'm going to make sure in the story she wins. So just remember, today is another page in the story. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be written. And before you close your journal tonight, ask yourself, what was your bite of pie today? Until tomorrow, love you loud.